What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is March 10th of 2020. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, we're not only going to be diving in deep into cryptocurrencies, taking a look at the altcoins that I'm currently bullish on, but along with that as well, taking a look back at traditional markets and seeing how we've not only had a rebound overnight in futures markets for major equity indices like the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, but along with that as well, taking a look back at yields on bonds and seeing how we might have bought ourselves some time before we enter into negative territory as we've stopped the free fall in US Treasury yields. So anyways, we've got a lot of things to discuss throughout the video. Let's go ahead and start diving into cryptocurrency markets. So we can see here across the board, most cryptocurrencies are in a no trend scenario between 1 or 2% to the upside or downside after the pretty dramatic sell-off that we had across the board here. However, we do have some players coming out on top, some large Ethereum plays like Loopring, for example, picking up 18% here in the last 24 hours that could play a huge role in scaling Synthetics network in the sense of building synthetic assets, part of the DeFi ecosystem. And then also a few other plays that we've had for this year, such as Steem and Basic Attention Token, and a few other broader plays as well, doing well. But right now, I want to start by taking a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin has made some key support that I wanted to see, and luckily we were able to get it, and that was us holding support here with the logarithmic line of support that's been around since back here in 2015. We were able to hold on to it. Hopefully over the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll see whether or not it can hold and actually sustain itself and hopefully start moving higher from this point on, meaning that the correction that we've had here of over, I think it's around 20 to 25%. This over 20 to 25% correction. Yeah, it's 25%. So generally speaking, this 25% correction that we had will finally be over, and we'll start to be picking up towards higher levels here, not only retesting back up here to the resistance range that we've tested back here and over here in February, but also testing back up towards the line of resistance here and hopefully breaking through as we go towards the halving event. It might be that we continue to coil in upwards and towards May until we get the halving event, but who knows? Generally speaking, again, our time frame is for a much longer term horizon. All right. Now, along with that as well, I want to go ahead and dive into some altcoins as I promised at the beginning of the video. I know some of you out there have been wondering about what are my positions at the moment. Am I still long on a few certain plays? And honestly, guys, I haven't adjusted my positions too much. For those of you who keep active with the channel and follow my daily updates, you guys will probably know what positions I currently hold. But for those of you who don't follow daily, definitely hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. I always appreciate it, and we always want to have more people join the family. But I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about my current positions. So a lot of you are asking, am I still in Basic Attention Token? Yes, I'm still in Basic Attention Token. This is still one of my larger altcoin positions. And we can see here that even though we haven't gotten as much of a rally as we've gotten with, for say, Chainlink or Kyber Network, this is still a play that has a lot of potential. If we take a look at its Bitcoin comparative chart here for Basic Attention Token, we can see that we're currently holding a support range that we've seen historically that usually kicks off at least a short-term rally at a minimum. So I think that we're going to start building up here quite soon. The SMS indicator is not looking too good, but again, I'm waiting for a good green week or two here to see if we can test back up to this resistance range and then eventually get back up here to really get to our first resistance mark here at around 5,200 Satoshis. That's where I'm going to take my first partial share. And after that, I'll take my second partial share here, up here at 7,000 Satoshis, and then up here around 94 to 9,500 Satoshis. So those are my three levels I'm watching for. I'm still holding, right? I'm not trying to trade around with this too much. Still holding the position, a solid position. The next one as well is Kyber Network. Kyber Network has just been blowing me away every single day I look at this. Not only in the sense of the multi-week performance here, where we first built our position back here around the mid-2000 Satoshi range. So we're not only way up in our position, but also how we were able to hold here above previous resistance, right? You can clearly see here around 7,800 to 8,000 Satoshis that there's general resistance here for over 3 times past in the previous history, right? Now it looks like we're making support on this. If we take a look back on the daily, it becomes even more clear here, guys. We're setting higher lows and we're testing up for higher highs. This is what I want to see. And not to mention, if you take a look at the actual market capitalization for Kyber Network, it's not ridiculous whatsoever if you're really proposing the idea that Kyber Network can be the base liquidity layer for DeFi. With how big DeFi has yet to grow, like in this case, meaning we've got a long way to go in the sense of its full potential. And along with that as well, with how much Kyber Network has been able to achieve, processing over that I think about was $170 or $180 million in volume back in February, I think this is proving that DeFi is here to stay. The Kyber network has got a lot of room to grow, and at a market cap of, I think it's around like 150 million, something around that ballpark. I could be off. We can take a look at it real quick. If we go here real quick, we'll type in KNC. There we go. So let's see if I'm on the money with that market capitalization. So even less, 132 million. So with the pullback in Bitcoin's valuation, we're currently sitting at 132 million. But the key thing here is that the Bitcoin comparative chart is killing it. It's continuing to hold up even in an environment where altcoins aren't generally gaining dominance right now. So what's going to happen when the broader altcoin market starts to pick up? I think Kyber Network keeps going up. And I think that now that we've made clear that this is no longer resistance, the next significant range is somewhere up here between 28,000 and somewhere around 40,000 Satoshis. A very rough range of resistance here because there really just isn't any poignant part of price that has gotten me concerned at this point. And the momentum is obviously building in with the volume that's following. So I like seeing this. Anyways, going on to talk about a few of our other plays here, we also have Ren. This is another one that a lot of people have been wondering about. Well, Ren is continuing to set higher lows here in this case. It's got strong momentum. One of the few plays that are outpacing. Again, I've had this drawn here ever since we did our analysis on Ren over the last few months. And right now, if we take a look at the auto chart here, we can see here that the momentum seems to be building up here. Ren has gone up from around 450 Satoshis all the way up to 846, even after a pullback from 974. And I think that this is easily going to test back up to this range. So the position I've gotten Ren, it's a smaller play, but I do still have some exposure to Ren. I'm hoping to make it back up to this range before I take any kind of partial share or profits. So anyways, that's my general position on Ren. Ren's still looking good. The concept of liquidity pools in this case, dark liquidity pools in this case, is going to be huge in the sense of expanding out DeFi for institutions. I want to go on here to talk a little bit about Link. I don't know why I'm not seeing there. It's at the top here. So it's the worst performing over the last 24 hours. But ironically enough, it's only down 1.41%. And in reality, it's still holding up basically towards its all-time highs in Bitcoin comparison, right? I mean, this is just incredible stuff, guys. Taking a look at the weekly here. Momentum is still good on the SMS. Look at this. I mean, this is just incredible. So Link has been killing it. We started building our positions in Link a while ago. I think back here in September, right around 25,000 Satoshis. So we actually doubled our position in Bitcoin, right? And in the sense of USD, we're still way up from where we were back when we entered in here. I think most of my positions were around like $2. Now it's $4. So again, really good to see here, guys. These are the kind of plays we want. We want the strengthful plays. We want the ones that are leading the way. We don't want to buy ones that aren't trending right now because we don't want to fight the trend. If things are selling off, right, wait until the trend reversal comes in and the market showcases momentum for those plays that you might agree with fundamentally, right? Those are the key things to take into mind. Now, for those of you who want to get some exposure to some of my kind of altcoin positions, you guys can follow me on eToro. I'm one of the many traders on their copy trader program. And for those of you who haven't heard about eToro, eToro is a social trading platform. But for US traders, they recently launched their copy trader feature. So you can copy a variety of individuals. So you can see their current statistics on their performance, their current portfolio holdings, and also a chart of their previous performance. And if you find one that you like, you can hit the blue copy trader button where you can copy them real time at the same prices and at the exact same time. So anyways, just to give you guys that perspective, if you're looking just kind of for a simple, easy introduction to crypto. Now, I want to go ahead and dive a little bit into US futures, and not just US futures, global futures, because right now we're seeing a pretty solid rebound across the board in global futures right now after a lot of the scare from one of the worst days we've had in equity markets in a multi-year basis, guys. I mean, it was a pretty stark sell-off that we had the other day of nearly 6 to 7% across the board in US indices, and in global markets even worse. Some indices going anywhere from 7 to 10%. So it's good to see a little bit of a rebound here. We can see a lot of the areas like the tidal wall, for example, which is indicative, in this case, of stocks in a lot of foreign regions where oil production is very high, and with the price of oil dropping, sparked a huge shock here. Luckily, we're seeing a little bit of a rebound here. We're also seeing a big rebound in a lot of European indices, the CAC 40 here for France, right? We can see here rebounding nearly 4%. The Euro Stoxx 50 up 3.4%. The FTSE 100 for the UK here up 3.6%. The DAX here for Germany, OMX S30 for Sweden, all doing quite nice. And again, the Chinese indices as well, doing quite nice. Now, we haven't gotten futures trading just yet here core US indices. Seems like the futures are closed off right now. But all in all here, the major thing we're seeing here is a bit of a rebound here across the board. Not mitigating all the sell side pressure from yesterday, but certainly a little bit of a rebound, a little bit of relief here. Now, the one thing I want to talk about here that I really want people to keep an eye on is the Fang stocks. So I've talked a lot about aggregating Fang together. Now, you can always hear about the Fang stocks, but the best thing to do is literally just to add all of the major tech stocks together. And I like to add Amazon and Apple when it comes to the Fang acronym because I think they're both relevant tech companies. They're both nearly trillion-dollar giants that have accumulated so much of the value of the NASDAQ, right? So in this case, we can see here that we've had a near 20% pullback in less than 4 weeks in the Fang stocks from their new all-time highs. And the key thing to take away here is that we've not only seen larger corrections here, and I think we're going to see a larger one than the one we had back here from September to down here in December of 2018, but along with that, it's important to understand the time frame of these pullbacks, right? If we take, for example, the first 4 weeks, right, of the last pullback, we were down 7% compared to 20%. So you can see the sheer momentum of this sell-off here. Now, what's my general target range here, right? You know, if we really do enter into a recession, what would we want to see? Well, I think that for the general kind of target that we have for recessions, which is 50%, I think we could see the exact same for Fang stocks. And they even provide us a perfect support level for this to happen. If we drag out the box here for the percentage decline, you can see here that in a multi-week basis, maybe in a full year's time, right, of a bear market, we could come down here to 2,300, which is a perfect cut in half of the previous all-time highs. I think that's very reasonable, guys. This is what I'm going to be looking out for here in regards to the Fang stocks over the long term. Now, you can keep an eye on this, guys. You might agree or disagree, but I would just recommend adding these different stocks together and getting this kind of broad index, right? Ignore really the actual numeric value here outside of the percentage change. It doesn't really signify anything. These aren't, you can't buy exactly you could buy a share of each, I guess, in this case. But long story short, it's a matter of seeing the general up and down performance of the Fang stocks here. And I really do believe, I'm betting my money on this case, that we're going to see prices come down to this support range before we really enter into the next full-scale upswing cycle. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Treasuries. Treasuries, again, these are the official figures printed yesterday on the continuous decline. However, without trying to spread too much FUD, as much as these yields are getting very low in the 6-month as well as the 1 year, we're pressing very, very close to possibly in the next 2 or 3 days going negative. It looks now like we might be getting a little bit of relief. Now, in the longer term channel, it's looking like we're still set for negative rates, or negative yields, pardon me. But we have gotten a little bit of a rebound here. Whereas we went down all the way to 0.36 down here at the bottom yesterday, we are now back up to 0.7% for the yield on the 10-year. Along with that as well, taking a look at the 30-year here, right? Again, breaking down to some very low levels here that do have me concerned, but going up from 0.82 to 1.2 on the yield. Definitely a nice rebound here. It's good to see this, right? Again, guys, at the end of the day here, right, I think, we're invested in crypto, we're invested in hedging assets. I do not want to see U.S. Treasuries go negative. It's going to be real bad if they go negative, okay? At the end of the day, I have a feeling of confidence that they will. It's kind of fixed in. I mean, if you can't tell the general trend here over the last, like 30 years in this case, if you can't see it, I can't do anything to help you in this case. The trend is very clear. We're going to go negative eventually, right? It's been set in stone for a while. But I really don't want to see yields go negative in this case. It would be very detrimental not only to the U.S. economy, but to global markets, and it would, set us into a very, very scary recession of some sort, right? So anyways, I just want to stress this point, guys. In the short term, we've had some relief. It seems like things might be able to be controlled to some degree in the short term, but I still think the fears around, what's gotten, all the markets panicked about right now in the sense of the thing that's spreading globally, I think that is going to continue to cause fear in markets. I think we're just seeing the start to the pullback in the sense of equities. And I think that bonds are very much going to go negative because central banks are still going to be on pace to bring down interest rates to near zero by the next meeting. That's what markets are pricing in right now. What if they don't do it? That's the important question. Because if they don't, it's a catch-22. The Fed is trying to supplement Treasury yields, right, and keep the bond market stable, and they're also at the same time trying to keep equity markets stable. If they don't cut rates down to 0% to stimulate equities, I mean, it's going to be a bloody market. If you think you saw a bad sell-off day yesterday, we're going to probably get an even worse one in this case in regards to the Fed's malpractice with interest rates. If that does tend to happen, I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to drop it to 0 or down to 0.25%. Either of those would make me a lot more confident in equity markets in the short term. All right. But speaking of that, guys, in the sense of cryptocurrency markets, right, we're confident here that Bitcoin has found its general bottom here, that we're going to continue to weigh into the wedge here that we've been building up for a long period of time. I want to go ahead and dive into our sponsor here, which is Clio. So in today's video, we're actually going to showcase how to create and plug in API keys into the Clio.1 platform so you can actually go about utilizing your trading strategies automatically. All right, so we're going to go ahead and first start off and make a few things clear before we actually dive into this. The first thing is that you have to understand a little bit of details about your strategy. So the first thing you have to understand is what trading pair am I utilizing, and also what exchange am I planning to use. This is very important to understand about the strategy that you want to use, because quite frankly, you have to plug in each given pair that you want to utilize matched with the exchange that you want to utilize. This is an important thing to understand. This isn't so much a limitation of Clio.1, it's simply just how the API key management system works. So in this case, we want to trade Chainlink against Bitcoin. This is our trading strategy here. So generally an altcoin versus Bitcoin in this case, right? So Bitcoin is our actual pair that we're utilizing, and we're planning to trade this through Binance, right? Just to keep it simple, because there's not too many exchanges where you can get the BTC pair for altcoins like Chainlink, right? So we're going to go ahead, we'll use Binance in this case, and what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to My Live Portfolio. Now, what you do when you get to this window is you're going to come up here to the top end, and you're going to click on the Connect Live Account button. It's this nice big blue button. So it's going to ask us here a few quick things here as we go throughout this process. The first thing is, do we have an exchange account? And in this case, we're going to click yes. We obviously do have one. It's already pre-highlighted. Now, next up, we need to select which exchange we want to build a way to actually utilize our strategy for, right? So in this case, we have Binance, Binance.us, Bitfinex, Coinbase Pro, HitBTC, good range of different exchanges across the board. In this case, we've already got Binance selected. Now, in this case, for our portfolio name, we can really name this what we want in this case. We can go about naming this, for example, what would probably be best to go about doing, and this is what actually I've gotten recommended from Kevin and a lot of the team at Clio. I think it's a great way to go about it, because remember, we're doing individual API key plugins for each pair and each exchange. So in this case, we could do, for example, Binance, and then maybe dash BTC, right? So this is our API key that we're going to utilize for Bitcoin pairs on Binance. So what's nice is once we've done this, we can trade any altcoin strategy against Bitcoin on Binance. So we've got that covered, a good range of different trading pairs for different trading strategies. And along with that as well, we have to select our market currency. Now again, don't get confused, guys. This is one thing that I think a lot of people will mess up on, is that they'll usually pick something, maybe for example, like BNB, if they're trading, for example, BNB to BTC, but in reality, your actual pair currency is BTC, right? It's with the secondary asset in that case when you're looking at a pair. So this would be, for example, Link to BTC, BAT to BTC. All of those trades would fit into BTC being the market currency. So, and it'll even warn you here as well. Like Clio is very helpful in this case. They'll give you a lot of notifications. Like this would be, for example, like trading Dash or XRP or Litecoin to Bitcoin pairs, right? Now, this is the next important part here, guys. We're going to be plugging in two values here that Binance is going to provide to us: our API key and our API secret, okay? Now, when you go over to your exchange account here, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here, but I've got this blurred out here so you guys can't see this. There's a reason I'm doing that, because if you have the API secret key, you'd be able to trade with my funds, which is probably not something I want to let you guys do. Now, that's an important thing to note as well. When you are plugging in these values, it's important to make sure out of anything that you do not allow people to see the secret key. I'm just playing it overly protective and blocking the API key here, but we're going to go ahead and plug in these values into our API key, and all you basically have to do is plug in those values here and then basically go to Connect Exchange. And afterwards, you're pretty much good to go. So we're going to go ahead and do those things real quick, and then we'll come back to the video here in just a moment. Alrighty everyone, so now that we're back on our live portfolio page, we can see clearly that our Binance BTC API key has been officially plugged in and is currently active. We can even go about refreshing the current status to whether or not our portfolio has had a different change in investments, if its return has changed, and along with that as well, we can also disconnect the account. So let's say, for example, our trading strategy had looked really good on our back testing, but now it's just not working with the market and something very wrong has started to come up. Then in this case, we can always disconnect our account. It's almost kind of like a fail-safe button. We have to understand the side effects of doing this and disconnecting the account. We can disconnect it and everything's all good to go. So again, that's basically all you need to know, guys, about plugging this into a real exchange account. It's simple. API key generation is free so long as you can do it through the exchange platform. And you just simply have to do it for each trading pair and also each exchange that you want to be able to trade. And the more that you plug in, the more trading strategies you'll be able to engage in. All right, so that's going to be it for Clio today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this analysis of the Clio One platform. And again, it's a great way to get started in automating trading strategies. So if you're interested, check out the link down below in the description to learn more about what Clio One offers. With that being said, I hope you all have enjoyed this overall video. If you liked it, drop a like. It's always appreciated. And also leave a comment down below as to what you think about the topics we discussed in today's video, from traditional markets to also some of our altcoin picks in the cryptocurrency space. That being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned.